Marky Worthington Podcast all day.
All day.
Dream by night.
Don't buy me a drink. Just give me $10.
Oh, dude, you look sweet. Yeah, you got a big beard, dude.
Go down to the strip club with your floppy disk and turn it into a hard drive.
Yeah, right. Thrown out by Big Tony.
We're here to name names and make people feel more ashamed for shit that they're not proud of.
Me and my best friend, Marky Worthington.
Whatever it is.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the Marky Worthington Comedy Podcast. This is callback episode 131. Recorded with a buddy of mine, Ross Yeoman, from back in April of 2020, and it was released in May of 2020. This is Isolation Episode 3. We did this one while we're in lockdowns. It was a good little time capsule for that period of comedy and podcasting as well. We got into heaps of cool stuff. We're chatting about, as you can see on the description, we had all the stuff mentioned in there, but there's also, I re-listened to it, and there's talked about trivia and Ross's Short, Fast, Funny set, which to this day I cannot find on YouTube anymore, so it's definitely been scrubbed. Mine's still up there, but Ross's is not. And then we kind of kick off a segment that never really took flight with the show, but I enjoyed doing it. It was the online reviews section. So yeah, it was an interesting start. I might revamp that because I thought it was a pretty cool concept. Just need to have more references for it. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in and getting into these callback episodes. I also appreciate listening back to them myself because it's a good, as I mentioned, timestamp for what they're about. And also, as I say in most of my episodes, I need to remember to say this more often, but please like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Even if you just give a rating, if you listen on on the Apple podcasting app or on Spotify or whatever. Just make sure you like and give a rating to the podcast because that goes a long way. Bring me up to the top of the algorithm anyway. At the top. I mean, I'm competing with some pretty high-end podcasters here, but as far as Canberra comedy podcasts, I want to try and get up there. So thanks for tuning in, and let's get into the episode.
Callback episode.
Good callback.
Got a return guest, Ross Yeoman.
Hey, people.
It's good to have you back on the show, dude. This is a isolation episode 3 of the isolation series, but it's good to have you back, and not quite as chilled as the last setting, just sitting at the bar recording the last one, but hey, at least we get to chat.
Yeah, that last one seems like a lifetime ago. It's probably only a couple of months, but being able to actually sit next to someone, it was quite a pleasure.
Yeah, that's it. Like within the 1.5 meter span.
I can tell you now, I'm very happy that this is an audio medium because my depression beard, like I know you have a great beard, but I just have a depression beard that is getting grosser and grosser by the day, and I'm not going to shave it. I refuse to until the lockdown's lifted and I have to go in public.
That's excellent, man. So you're just working at home at the moment, or?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting because a while back I got a call from my boss saying, "Look, mate, we're gonna have to let go of contractors, and because I work on projects which are not exactly essential, they're working on enhancing future state stuff."
Yep.
And he was like, "Look, we're redirecting everything to business critical activities," which made perfect sense. And he was like, "Look, I'm going to try and do something, but I might have to give you 2 weeks notice. I just want to give you the heads up." He's a really good guy. And then a week or two later, I think it was around the time the stimulus packages started coming out. I think the whole public service just shifted, and they decided, we'll just keep all the contractors employed. We just want everyone in a job. so that we don't continue to stack up the Centrelink queue. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like if they can offer the work, it's best to keep people on than to just add to the problem.
Yeah, I mean, when I joined the public service at a tragically young age, and I remember about 3 months in thinking that the public service was like in the business world, it's kind of like school for adults.
Yep.
And then I started, after a couple of years, I was like, it's not even school for adults. I think the amount of public servants in Canberra, especially, I think it is just an economic stimulus package in another form. Like that, they just want to keep people employed, keep them spending money, keep them buying stuff.
Yep.
Everyone's happy. And like the amount of times there's been massive reshapes of departments, and they let like 4,000 people go. Nothing changes. That department doesn't stop providing that service. Like, so to me, it's obvious that I reckon about 60% of the APS is outright just an economic stimulus package.
Yeah. Yeah, we're like the being the capital, we're like the heart of the nation that's just pumping money out into the rest of the community.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like it's just a flow-on effect. Like, and the thing is, like, people might leave a department, but they'll always just rock up at another department, just being like, oh well, like I'm doing this now. And it'd be just the same thing in a different thing. Or you lose a couple people in the middle that always worked on their life goal of fucking opening like a fucking muffin shop or some shit. Like
artisanal muffins,
yeah. Instead of like fucking like Jill from HR, it's Jill's Muffins on fucking Northbourne. Just like getting crippling rent payments coming through, and finally determined to push on through, spends her life savings and goes back into fucking accounting.
Oh man, I tell you what, I was listening to like my favorite podcast. Sorry, yours is second.
Yeah, we did put out an episode like recently. Yeah, you told me, dude. You heard the last one.
No, shout out to your boy Stuart Keys. That was a great episode. It was funny.
No, I dig it. We got good feedback on that one too. So it's kind of cool not to be so strict with the guests. Like I like that we're starting to I'm branching out more into like just the arts in general, like performing and tattooing and just all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, so am I saying it right, Stewie Keys?
Yep, that's his name.
That is an awesome name.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's like a movie character name.
Yeah, exactly.
That you wouldn't think would really happen in the real world.
Yeah, you know how people say like, oh, it sounds like a 90s rapper?
Oh, yeah.
Well, like, he sounds like a rapper from the future. Like, soon other rappers will have names closer to that. They haven't caught up yet.
Yeah. Well, I don't know the guy, but I envy his name. It's a fucking great name.
Yeah, dude, that's up there with like Max Power and shit.
That just made me think of when Bach gets brought into the Navy. To the
subliminal messages and shit.
Yeah. But when he first gets picked up by the recruiter, and the guys and Bart says, "Who are you?" and he says, "All in good time." And then he goes, "It says here you're LT Smash. The time has come."
That's a good point, though. Like, just because somebody says that it's not time yet doesn't mean it's going to not be time soon after.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you go to a bar and they're like, "Sorry, sir, you cut off," you're like, "Not yet." And then you have one more sip and you're like, "Okay, now."
Yeah, I've been politely and unpolitely asked to leave a few bars in my time.
Man, I'm usually the one behind the bar having to like cut off my mates after a big night, and it's never easy, but it's also there's a good and a bad way to do it. And there's also a good and a bad way to be cut off. Like if I have a buddy come in and I'm like, look, man, we're really pushing it here. You know, like this is gonna be tough, but I'm just gonna take it from a point of view where it's like I'm just doing this for your safety. Because if I was in this for myself, yeah, sure, keep giving me fucking money and fuck you.
Yeah, this is something I wanted to talk to you about. Were you ever tipped in your when you were working on the bar? Did you ever get a tip?
Yeah, well, I hope that I go back to it after the lockdown's done. But yeah, well, as a bartender, I usually get tipped like fairly regularly, like every week or so. But it's always more common when we have like international bands, like American bands coming through. They're more likely to tip.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is not really an Australian custom to tip, but it's always great when it happens because it's like still a thing that people do. It's just not very common. But yeah, it just makes your night though, because you're like, oh man, like because we actually get paid decent wages and we don't rely on tips. So when you get tip money, it's like next level.
Yeah, well, so like I was saying, my favorite podcast gave me this idea, and to all the listeners, I strongly recommend you check out Making Sense with Sam Harris. I think he's one of the clearest voices at the moment, especially in all this confusion. But
the only one not making sense right now is me off that shout out. Is that with a C or an S?
No, Making Sense. Like
Yeah. But you know, like royalty checks come, and for some actors, it's like a mere few cents for like something they did in like '91.
Oh, like when Seinfeld's getting the 12-cent checks from China.
Yeah, well, I feel like Seinfeld's still getting mad checks from shit.
Oh, dude, that guy's getting residuals up the yin yang. Like,
yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but it was. I think it was only like the third open mic I'd done. It might have been Billy Macon. We were talking about like comedians we liked, and I like Seinfeld. The I'm Telling You for the Last Time album I used to listen to all the time as a kid.
Coincidentally told you more than once.
But I think it might have been Billy, and I'm sorry, Billy, if I'm misrepresenting you, but someone said to me, like, fuck that, Seinfeld, that guy made a career out of 1 hour of material. And I thought, yeah, that's kind of true.
Yeah.
I think if you take Larry David out of the equation, he probably wouldn't have been as successful.
Yeah, dude. No, for sure. That also, I mean, hey, he'll comment below or not, whatever, I don't give a fuck, but like that definitely sounds like something Bill would say.
Man.
Back to your podcast, sorry.
Yeah, no, Making Sense, Sam Harris. Everyone should check that out. He was having a conversation, and there were two really interesting things that struck out to me. But one of them was the guest that he was speaking to was talking about how you should. There was an article that was written saying it was about like frontline workers, but not nurses and that kind of thing, but like, you know, people stocking shelves, people at the counter at the supermarket, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And this article was written saying, "Don't call us heroes. We're actually victims."
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense because they, you know, who the fuck wants to work in that environment?
Dude, I'm working in retail at the moment. I'm working at a liquor department.
Oh, your business must be booming.
Yeah, well, the thing is, there's alcohol restrictions, so we're having troubles with, not having as many bulk buys, but there is multiple smaller sales.
Okay.
And people that I'm serving are saying like, I don't like. I usually get a couple of people a week that say like, I don't normally drink, but hey, what the hell?
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, you told me that yesterday.
The funny thing is like the people that often buy bottles and say that it's like for their friends and stuff are still buying the same bottles but not saying that it's for a friend. Like they're just like the joke's over. Like I get it, they're for you.
Oh mate, I went to detox once when I was a younger man, and
like AA, or did you just go straight to?
Oh, like in the hospital.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
Detox.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not on that side of it yet. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't just assume knowledge that everyone knows what detox.
Oh no,
is,
most of the listeners to this show would, but I'm just not really familiar.
Most of the listeners to this show. Such respect for your audience.
Yeah. Lap it up, you pigs.
But no, when I was in there, like you get through the worst of it, and then you got to spend a couple more days in there, and it's a confined space with strangers and that kind of thing, and everyone starts swapping war stories, of like, oh, this is how I ended up here, that kind of thing. And there was this one lady, she was about 50, and she'd been buying like bottles of spirits, like you were just saying. And doing it from different bottle shops, and always pretending that it was a gift for someone. And so she would always buy the like that little gift bag, like type thing that you can put a bottle of spirits in.
Yeah.
And she was saying that what made her realise she had a problem was that she opened her cupboard once, and it like was overflowing with these gift bags that she'd been pretending to. It's funny because it's tragic.
Back to what we were saying before, like she never mentioned who the gift was for. She may have went home and had her own little like presentation process before she drank the bottle herself.
Mate, I reckon she was probably drinking it on the way to the car before she got home.
Yeah. Oh man. Let me say something to anyone that like may have wondered this or that does that. As a person that works in a liquor department, let me just say that we don't give a fuck. Like, I honestly, you could say like, I am gonna go home and drink this right now, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning and we just opened. As long as you don't come back this afternoon after you drank that, dude, I don't give a fuck. Like, no.
Yeah.
It's like fucking normal. There's no real judgment like that. Like, you're judging yourself harder than I ever would if you're gonna say that at the register.
Yeah, it's anyone making an excuse at a bottle shop is clearly aware that they're doing something detrimental, and there's a level of self-shame where they're trying to apologize to the wrong person.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, they're convincing themselves, not you.
Yeah, definitely. But sorry, what I was going to say about like tipping frontline workers.
Yep.
I got a bunch of $5 notes, and I decided, every time I go to the grocery store, I'm gonna give the person, not the store, but the actual person, $5. And I did it for the first time last week, and because tipping's just not a cultural phenomenon in Australia, she looked at me like I was a fucking alien. Like, I explained it, and I said, I've been listening to this podcast, and it was saying we should really, tip the frontline workers and that kind of thing. So this is for you. And she was like, but I can't take that. And it was this weird transactional situation where I was like, just take the fucking $5. Like, it's not that big a deal.
It's like Mr. Burns with the money in Homer. Like, take it, you fool. Like,
or
just piling the money into the pockets and stuff.
Yeah, or when Marge is a cop and Apu tries to bribe her, and they both turn around and leave the money on the counter, and Mr. Burns just walks past drinking milk and takes the cash. Fucking hell! I wanted after like listening to your last episode, I
Yep.
wanted to ask you, do you have? Can you narrow it down to a favorite Simpsons episode?
That's a tough one, man, because sometimes something that I like about a whole episode might be just one split scene. So the hardest part about that would be finding like an episode that has more than one of those moments in it.
Yeah.
And at the moment, my favorite one would probably be when Homer becomes a boxer.
Oh, and Mo lifts him out of the ring.
Yeah, just because I'm a massive Mo fan, like I reckon between Mo and Quentin Tarantino's character in Death Proof, he does a cameo in there as the bartender.
Yeah.
Between those two, you've got the perfect bartender.
That's coming from a bartender.
Yeah, so like I've done the legwork, but I can tell you for a fact, like Mo is definitely one of my favorites, if not my favorite Simpsons character, and that episode's really Mo heavy. So that's why I like that one.
Yeah, I understand like the scene for scene, like what's funniest and what sticks in your mind and that kind of thing. That Mo boxer, Homer becoming a boxer episode, the funniest thing to me in the world is Dredrick Tatum.
Yeah.
Like the obvious Mike Tyson.
Yeah, even with the manager and everything.
Yeah, he's still got the guy who uses words like fustigate and all that kind of shit. Don King.
He's in the prison, and it's like everyone is just going fucking insane, and he's like, hey, keep it down, and everyone just like, sorry, champ.
Sorry, champ. Yeah, sorry, champ. But when
someone's gonna write the actual quote, like I fucked up the quote. Someone's gonna like write the fucking word for word. Okay, Google fucking response to that.
My favorite part of that episode is when Dredrick Tatum is talking to the media.
Yeah.
And he quotes. It's almost a quote from Tyson. Talking about how like he respects his opponent.
Yeah.
But the Simpsons flip it, and he's like, because he's got a lisp and everything.
He's got
like,
everything.
Yeah, like, and he's like, I respect Mr. Simpson. I don't mean to, any malice or blah 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 or whatever it is. And then he goes, but I plan to make orphans of his children. and then the news guy goes, he has a wife, champ. And he goes, I am assuming she will die of grief. It is that like, oh my god.
Oh, man. Like when you look at that compared to actual Mike Tyson, not too far different. But then you look at actual Mike Tyson now compared to Mike Tyson then, and you're like, holy shit, that dude's changed.
Oh yeah. I mean, did you listen to him on Joe Rogan?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like, and it's weird. Like he's kind of like these days he kind of seems like a cuddly teddy bear.
Yeah. Man, have you seen recent video of him doing like a quick little like some like shadow boxing? He's still got some speed on him though.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean about like being like a bear. It's like, yeah, it's cuddly and fun or whatever, but that he could rip you apart.
Yeah, still like, fuck you up.
Yeah, I mean that guy's muscle memory is probably just
inbuilt
insane.
Yeah. No, that's my favorite Simpsons episodes. There's a couple of pearlers in there. Like there's the bit that I always laugh at. Having worked at a bar that switched around like over the years and gone from like being somewhere where it wasn't really like a big destination, not many people went there, to like something that is thriving before the lockdown, obviously, but they're still doing well through food and stuff. Like they're still they're still managing to keep the flow going right now during all this lockdown shit. The scene that reminds me of like old school bar that I used to like when there was like not when it wasn't as popular is the you put an office back here in the ladies' bathrooms. Like I decided to make use of it since there hasn't been a girl back here since '86.
Yeah, well, like when you see Mo's bartender license and it expired in like 1987 or something, and he gets asked to make a. I reckon my favourite Mo moment is probably when he they're doing the B sharps.
Yeah.
And so you've got that Yoko Ono sort of rip-off character.
Yep.
And she asks for a plum in perfume served in a man's hat, and he just pulls it out immediately, like he had that ready to go.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah, the Yoko Ono one. That's actually pretty fun. And then there's which is also in that episode, the boxing episode, the other Mo reference, where he goes, where the dudes come in to beat up Homer, which is how they find out that he can take a proper fucking beating. And he's like, hey, if you want to beat up my friend in my bar, it's a 2-drink minimal.
Yeah, I remember, because I rediscovered The Simpsons, because obviously,
you're like a born again fan.
Yeah, well, I mean, because it first aired in like 1990,
yeah,
and I was 5, and so I just liked it because it was a cartoon, and I thought Bart was cool or whatever. And then it wasn't until I was like in year 12 or something, I was like, I should really go back and revisit that. And then you catch all the like political and religious jokes and just how clever it is and everything else that you missed the first time. But I remember even as a kid laughing at the scene where some guys come in, they're causing trouble or whatever in the bar, and Mo says, Barney, show him the exit. And Barney goes, there's an exit? I think even in my child brain, I was able to realise that's funny and depressing.
Man, see, the best thing I liked about it was, well, rewatching it now, it's kind of got some timestamps in there where you're like, oh, dude, I remember when that shit was like the current, like a current issue, and Simpsons addressed it on the show. The other thing about it was when you rewatch it and you're like, oh, I get the humor that wasn't in it the first time that I watched it when I was younger, or like when I used to watch it with like my parents, or like, you know, my dad's friend's kid that was older than me or some shit. He'd be laughing at different spots than I would be. So it was like something that we could both watch and then we'd find our own humor in the same thing. Yeah,
it's I mean it's an absolute masterpiece. I mean they should have stopped at about season 12, I think. Like I've been to multiple Simpsons trivia nights and they just restricted to seasons 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Because like those are the good seasons. And then everything kind of went off the rails. And a lot of that was because he was David S. Cohen on The Simpsons, the writer.
Yep.
He moved over to do Futurama, and he had to change his name because of the writing guild or some bullshit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he was David X. Cohen on, and I reckon a lot of the time he went with him from The Simpsons to the inspiration for Futurama and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, okay. No, that's a good point with the timestamp up to 12. Like I watched it was probably the reason I still have a Disney Plus subscription is because Simpsons. The thing that I didn't really get into, well, no, I did get into Futurama. I just never found it again where I could like, I never put the time aside to watch it properly, like I did with Simpsons and Family Guy and like the other shows that I watch. I feel like Futurama would have potential for me to get into it as well. I just haven't really just sat down and watched it.
Dude, I have the first 4 seasons on DVD. I will happily deliver them to your house. Futurama for me, it's like I have a Simpsons tattoo, and Futurama is like edging, almost being better.
Yeah.
Futurama is so fucking brilliant, and the simplicity of Fry as a character. He's just got the biggest heart. He's always trying to do the right thing, but he is just thick as bricks, and he doesn't really understand the consequences of anything that's happening around him.
Yeah.
He's just the most lovable guy in the world.
Yeah, I dig that, man. I remember when it kind of came out, and I started watching it like as it came out, and then once it was stopped kind of being on TV and stuff, that's when I lost it. And I'd happily come back and rewatch it, just like I've done with Family Guy and The Simpsons.
Yeah, honestly, man, I'll give you the DVDs because it's unreal, and the DVDs you get I'm so much of a Simpsons nerd. I've watched like almost every. So the reason it takes The Simpsons so long to put out the DVDs is that for every single episode, they do an audio track, like a commentary track over it, and they have macaroning on every single one of them, and then they have one of the showrunners, like David S. Cohen or someone like that,
yep.
or and then they have someone like Nancy Cartwright or or Lisa or something like that. And so it takes them forever to do it, and that's why it took so long for them to come out and all that kind of thing. And it was still like an emerging medium at the time, like DVDs or Blu-ray or whatever. But yeah, like I've listened to, like I've watched every DVD commentary of The Simpsons, like seasons 1 through 10, and it's fascinating how much shit you learn, like in terms of what goes into them creating those episodes.
When you go to trivia nights, is there people that just like have more knowledge than that? Like, do you have to deal with some people at trivia nights that have just got more knowledge than someone that sat there and watched all the commentary?
The biggest trivia night for The Simpsons I went to was actually at the Hellenic Club, and originally they only had it was tables A to Z, 10 people. So that's already like 260 people, and then they had to add another 140 people because so many people were like buying tickets and saying, "I want to come," to this thing.
Yeah.
And I actually got my cousin down, my older cousin, down to come to the trivia night, and so he and I were just absolute geeks about it, and sort of they'd ask questions like, how old is Hans Moleman, and we didn't want to be assholes and just answer the question straight away. Like we'd let the table discuss, and then we'd just quietly sort of go, yeah, he's 31. Just write down 31. But so yeah, I think
it reminds me of me when I did a escape room one time.
Oh wow, you've actually done one of those.
Yeah, so I did an escape. We'll get back to that Simpsons trivia in a sec. Just a side tangent. I went to an escape room with my buddy, and we got like super stuck on this puzzle. Because we both like our like puzzle games, survival horror, and this room that we chose was basically both of those in one. It was like horror themed puzzle sort of room. So we were just like, yeah, let's do this.
Was this in Canberra?
Yeah, it was in Mitchell.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out. That
yeah,
sounds awesome.
Yeah, no, it was super fun, man. We've done we did one other since then, and we plan to do more of them. The worst part about them is they take so long to like for them to set up and stuff, and there's a lot of thought that goes into them to make them like a really cool experience. But then once you do them, that's it. Like you can't do them again because like you know all the puzzles, right? So it's like a lot of work just for the hour that you'll be in there, less than that if you're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just got super stuck on this puzzle. I think we might have been overthinking it or whatever. And the dude basically, because they have like a monitor that just watches through cameras, and if you need a clue, you literally just say like, I need a clue, and the like room monitor will tell you a clue over the speaker.
Oh, okay.
So we get like a clue, still can't work it out. We need another clue, still can't work it out. And then there's like a monitor in the corner of the room, and the answer was just on the monitor. It was just like just fucking like it like just, for example, just pick a random number. It was just like it just said on the monitor 6, and the voice was just going like, it's 6. The answer's 6.
So like the people watching you do this that they'd set up for hours were so sick of you guys trying to break this code. They were like, guys, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's just here's the like. It's not like trying to be. We're not trying to like make it mysterious or anything anymore. Just fucking like it's this.
Yeah, you've got to move on to the next.
It would be like if you cooked like a really good meal, and someone was just having trouble eating the entree.
You know, no, seriously, there's more to come. Like,
Yeah,
hurry up.
If the entree just had one crumb just left on the plate, and this person was trying to pick it up with a fork, and it's taken them like 4 fucking tries.
It's like, that's it. We're taking your plate away.
Just took the plate and just said like, here, just fucking move on to the next bin. Yeah, but I recommend escape rooms. So, back to what you're saying before about the trivia. So it was like, whatever, 360 people.
Yeah, it was insane how many people showed up. Because you get a team name so they can identify it and all that kind of thing. And I wanted to be really clever and make the team name. So I made us the partially gelatinated non-dairy gum-based beverages.
Yep.
Do you remember that from the like Pulp Fiction rip-offs that they do?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, and he's like, he says, what do they call them? They don't call them shakes? No, they're partially gelatinated non-dairy gum-based beverages. Yeah. And he's like, you don't know what you're getting. But one of the funniest things about the trivia night was that, and this kind of annoyed me because I was really in it to win. And we ended up coming 4th when they released the results. But they would have one table would give the other table their answers and vice versa, and they'd mark you as whether or not you got them right. And so there were little nuances like, oh, you didn't say this or you didn't say that. And so I was really pissed because I with my cousin, I was like, we are going to win this thing. Like my cousin has this encyclopedic knowledge.
Yeah.
But they also did things where they allowed you to use your phones at a certain point.
Yeah, right.
Which is odd for a trivia night.
Yeah.
But the guy that was running it, he gave out his phone number to the whole room of 350 people or whatever. And it was like, the first person to text me the correct answer gets a bonus point or whatever it was. And I remember him getting up, like he told everyone his number. Everyone was like rushing to text, like, oh, it's this or it's that, or it was Marge. And and then he realised the mistake he'd made. He got up and he was like, all right, so the first 5 text messages I have are, you're a cockhead. Go fuck your mother. Everyone had just texted this guy like the most abusive shit they could think of. he just hadn't thought it through. Like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't give my mobile number.
That was like an on the spot thing. Oh, and how funny is it that like if you're under the complete veil of being anonymous in that, and people just text you're a fuckhead, like that's the worst thing they can think of.
Yeah, you think you'd be more creative.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
He
this is why your prize tonight is just going to be a Bunnings gift card, and you're going to fucking love it.
And the gift card is just going to be the sausage outside the store.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be sitting there trying to fucking give the Rotary member your gift card for $20, and the person on the Rotary won't have like any idea how the fuck that actually is a good deal.
I've always wondered, like, after that trivia night, like it was years ago, and I've often wondered, like, whether or not that guy still gets abusive messages just from strangers that he doesn't know. Like 4 years later, and he'll get a message saying, "Hey, fuckface, I remember you." Like,
yeah, exactly. Or even worse, 4 years later, he's still getting Simpsons answers to the question he asked.
Yeah. I wish I'd saved his number, because I would do that. I'd just send him things like random things.
Was it Barney? Man. Yeah.
But in terms of a favorite episode, I can't go past Lisa the vegetarian. It is like that episode is so densely packed with jokes. It's just insane. Like the stuff with Troy McClure is fantastic. When Lisa's trying to explain that she's not going to eat meat to Homer, and she's like, he's like, what? So you're never going to eat bacon? No. Or ham? No. Or pork chops? No. He's like, Dad, that all comes from the same animal. Yes, Lisa. A magical animal. And the propaganda film that they play to the students.
Yeah.
Where it shows them like how meat's made and all that kind of thing. The fact that it's called Meat and You, Partners in Freedom, it's just so funny. That's what I mean about like rediscovering it when I was older, because like obviously that flew over my head when I was 10. But fuck me, like that is too funny. And the way Skinner introduces the film, where he's like, a certain agitator, let's call her Lisa S. Wait, no, that's too obvious. L. Simpson. And then he's like, has raised certain questions about school policy. And then he goes, so in the interest of creating an open dialogue, sit silently and watch this film. It's like, that sums up my whole schooling career. Like, just sit silently and watch this film.
Yeah, they nailed that, hey. Like, how good was it when the teacher would just bring out the fucking TV? We did the sex ed class in science and in our health class. So, like, we learnt about, like, the fucking, like, reproductive side in science and, like, everything else in health. And we watched a fucking video of the whole gestation period for humans and what the fuck happens in that time, and then right up to showing a bunch of Year 9 kids a fucking birth video, full fucking birthing video on a like an old TV on a fucking wheel out stand thing on VHS in science. And
what school were you at? That is insane.
look, I'm not going to name them. Aside from it was no.
Always got to steal people's bits.
I don't always have to. Just in that case, it seemed fitting. Don't worry, I only do it when I'm talking to them.
Ironically, like I'll name drop them. Go fuck themselves. But I went through there, and I was never taught sex ed.
Yeah. You were just practiced it.
You were just a victim of it.
Yeah. You were just a victim of people that also weren't taught it.
No, I was never taught sex ed. And I remember this, like I found all my old school books once when I was at my mum's place. And I looked at all these pages, and all this stuff that was glued into our, into our textbooks or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was all the sex ed material, like all the, how everything worked, and how periods work, and what an erection is.
All the fucking shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remembered when I found that book. I remembered the day. Our teacher clearly just didn't want to talk about it. And so what he did was he just said, all right, everyone, gave us all these leaflets that we glued, and he was like, glue those into your books as fast as you can, and we'll go out and play football for an hour if you can do it in 5 minutes. So he just totally didn't teach us it at all.
What the fuck? No, do you know what it was, man? He fixed you guys. He thought that maybe, like, if you learnt about it, you'd be broken. So he's like, let's just go play some good old fucking football. Just make you guys all good. Like, not give you any mental issues at all. Instead of learning the reproductive system, which is fucking quite important for your existence, we'll go and just grab each other in the fucking field and fight like apes over a fucking ball.
Well, this guy, this teacher, I won't name him.
Let's be honest, football's foreplay for a group shower.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That's what he wanted. He's like, well, boys, I suppose we better get in that shower and fucking work out what's in that pamphlet, eh?
I love how gay things that are meant to be masculine are. Like, football's a great example. Like, and like the Catholic Church, it couldn't be gayer. Like, you've got a man in a dress, like, you have your Holy Communion, you get on your knees and you close your eyes and open your mouth. Like, it's the whole. There's candles and incense. Like,
yeah, dude, you fucking
you gayest religion
you share
ever.
Food and wine.
Yeah, and you're told you're consuming the body of someone.
Yeah,
and it's just it's so gross. It's so gay. Like, it's unbelievable how gay the Catholic Church is.
It's like when you flip that as well, like, football's meant to be manly, but like when you think about it, horse riding actually pretty manly, comes off as what you'd think. Like, I reckon that, like, if you didn't show anyone football or horse racing and you just showed them the athletes or the people that are in athletes, the fucking people that participate in it, they'd be like, all right, so all the ones that are running around in the field grabbing each other are those little dudes, I'm assuming.
I've always found that fascinating. Like, do you decide to become a jockey, or do you realise you're not going to grow above 4'8", and then you go, that's my only career choice? Like, I don't understand how jockeys enter that profession.
I think that I would watch more jockeys if they weren't riding horses and they were just getting mad and fucking fighting each other. Like if they did UFC with ex-jockeys.
You can tell someone would cheat though and throw a dwarf into the mix that has like super strength, like a really powerful skull.
Just throwing hook punches and elbows.
Oh fuck!
Oh,
So inappropriate.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it'd be like battle bots, but for jockeys. You see the guys from Mythbusters are on the side.
Yeah, they honestly, I'd love to see a Mythbusters episode where they're like, are jockeys born or made? You know, like how does it work?
Well, I don't think that like height is a choice.
Yeah,
Like you don't.
well, you got to be careful, mate. This is a very PC environment. I might self-identify as someone who's 3 foot.
No, I was gonna say wide, 3 foot wide. Yeah, well, dude, that's very common actually. As someone that's 5'7", and I think everybody else under 6 foot, I identify as someone that's 6'5", but it just doesn't fucking work that way.
Oh, dude, have you ever met someone who's over 7 foot?
Nah, never.
One of my mate, a friend of a friend, is like 7'2", I think. And when I first met him, it was like really inappropriate. But I just like, they opened the door and I saw him, and it was like that scene from It Follows, where that giant comes through the door. Like,
Yeah.
I just got introduced to him, and I just went, "Fuck me!" And like, I was scared, like visibly scared. It's insane how, like, all it is an additional foot. Like I think I'm 6'1" or something.
Yeah.
But the thing is eye level. So like if you're 5'7", your eye level hits like my, jaw or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's how we, obviously perceive the world and that kind of thing. And the fact that I literally have to tilt my head up to look at this guy's eyes, it was terrifying.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, I don't know if it's like a physical thing or whether it's just like a mental. Like if the fact that dude could just punch you in the top of the head is scary.
Yeah,
where like there's an element of like a physical advantage. As you look at someone else, you've got to think like there must be some part that just goes, all right, so how would I attack a fight with this person? And maybe that's why it's not so... I don't know, would you have the same reaction if someone was like, oh, this is my friend George, and opened the door and a 3-foot person walked out? If you just acted like that scene at the start of Jurassic Park where fucking Sam Neill sees the dinosaur for the first time.
The music plays.
Yeah, there's so many good mashups of that scene.
Oh, it's fantastic.
No, it's fucking great, man. But dude, I actually thinking of that. When I was in primary school, we had a teacher's assistant that was really tall, not over 7, but like probably 6, 7.
Yeah.
And the thing was, we were in like a demountable classroom, so the ceiling is already lower than normal. And you can just tell that our teacher kind of was like, you could tell he was kind of having a bit of a laugh. Like, he was super serious, but you could just fucking tell that he was like, all right, let's see how this fucking goes. So he gets this teacher's assistant out in the little alcove and just keeps the door shut, like in Kindergarten Cop when they introduced fucking John Kimball. And
it's not a tumor.
Yeah. So he's just like, all right, this is going to be our new teacher's assistant. He opens the door, and this motherfucker ducks to get through the door, and would have just looked down to a whole class of people with their fucking jaws on the desk. And the funniest part about it, dude, was like, he worked at one of the shops downtown as well. Like one weekend, Dad and I went into like a news agency or some shit, and I'm just like, oh, Dad, that's like my that's the new teacher's aide at school. And Dad just goes, oh, I thought they just had him to pack the top shelves here. And I was just like, see, Dad, everything has a specific purpose.
just going for that practical angle.
Yeah.
Fuck, that just reminded me, the public school that I went to after the Catholic school, and the public school I won't name because I respect it. There was a teacher there. He taught PE. He was like, I think he was about like 6'8". Like he was a fucking giant, right?
Yeah.
And how's this? His name was Mr. Ball.
What the fuck?
So I know, like, firstly, who has Ball as a last name?
Yeah.
But the fact
It's
that
not
he was
even
so...
2 syllables.
Yeah, exactly. Like, change that. Like, fuck. But because like with his height, it was like you don't have to be that creative to start calling him Mr. Tall.
Yeah.
You know, and he just got harassed every day. I feel bad for that guy wherever he is.
Oh man, yeah, dude, that's for sure. Like, oh, so 2 things that I need to like double back on our conversation before. One, we're in science class watching a fucking video of a chick give birth. Now this video's on VHS. It's done the fucking rounds, and let me just tell you, this shit was filmed a fucking long time before I seen it. And if I could describe the video in 2 words, I'd say full bush. The other thing,
pre-porn era, like
yeah, like
El Natural.
Yeah, just like straight up full bush, and like white cheek, black bush too. Like they weren't fucking around.
Oh man!
And straight after everyone opens their eyes because everyone's looking away during this scene, the fucking teacher rewinds it, so we watch the baby go back in.
Oh my god!
And then does like a teacher's commentary on the scene again, as we're all just rewatching this shit.
That is the stuff of nightmares,
dude.
Like, I don't think I'd recover. That's child abuse. Doing that.
Yeah. Well, when I went to school, we called it education. Oh man.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, but the other thing I want to double back on.
Yeah.
For anyone to get the references to the joke theft before, go onto YouTube and check out Ross Yeoman's Short, Fast and Funny to get that.
It.
Yeah, so if it's already been pulled down, I'm assuming that it's either not listed or it's through a different account or some shit. But because I know I got a direct link to mine, so I'm going to try hard to find that video so that I can share it as a reference for people to get it for this podcast. But if it's not on there, we're just going to assume it's been fucking removed.
Dude, I think it got taken down. I went and checked, like, cause I was amazed, like, because the guy sent it out, and he sent out everyone's to everyone.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, don't do that. Like, it's, people's material and whatnot. Like, people can do anything with that.
Exactly.
So
like, get it taken down.
Yeah. But no, I've searched for it because I'm such a fucking narcissist.
Or that you want to get the thing that someone gave you. Does that make you a narcissist? Like, if someone's just like, here's your change, and they weren't holding change, would you go like, oh, well, I don't have it, but you keep that because I'm not a narcissist?
No, but because I actively tried to find that on YouTube, and I can't. So, listeners, don't waste your time. I think it's been pulled down.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to get a lawsuit from.
Wait for me to fucking share it, and then, and if I don't share it, you know what happened.
Oh, dude, the funniest thing to me was when that first came out, and it was on YouTube, and I genuinely don't think it is anymore. But I watched it, and it's always awkward watching yourself. And then about a week later, I went to watch it again, and I looked at the bottom of the YouTube thing, and it said it had 1 view, and that was clearly me the last time I watched it. And I was like, oh yeah, road to stardom right here.
Soon I'll be quitting the day job.
Yep. I'm making a career out of this.
By the way, speaking of YouTube views and comments, if you're still listening at this point, I want to talk to the person that commented on the last Ross Yeoman episode and say, like, hey, we got him back, no matter how bad you thought the language was.
Did someone actually comment?
Someone commented. If people can go back and see this. Someone commented saying, I don't know about the language on this Ross fellow or something like that.
I love the irony of that, because like you've seen me do the bit where it's like, someone told me I swore too much.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So that's fantastic that someone was like, oh, well, just it probably needs to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
This is a family household.
It's like the video's marked as not for kids, and the episode's marked as not for kids, and the other thing is, like, they went to the effort of writing it, the comment, and posting it. So, I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, that person's probably my biggest fucking fan. Like, and that's why I said if you're still listening at this point, that's even better. Like, shout out to that person. Thanks for listening to the show. You'll be able to say you got in at the ground floor.
Yeah.
Like, you're on this fucking ship when it sailed.
I honestly, like, who in the fucking world writes a YouTube comment? Like, I know there's obviously billions of people that do it, but have you ever seen something on YouTube and felt the urge to go, well, I need to put my 2 cents in here? Like,
yeah, man.
What?
The best thing about the YouTube for the Short Fast Funny coming out all in one email is I can go back through and see if yours exists now too.
Oh, shit.
That happened to me, man. In the early days of, like, loyalty programs, like, shops would have, their cards and stuff that they'd give you.
Yeah.
One that I signed up for was, like, for a smaller business, and I had to actually write my email address on, like, a fucking clipboard.
Wow.
At the register.
Weird.
Yeah, like early days. It wasn't just sitting at the it was like behind the register, and the cashier just held the clipboard out, and I just wrote my shit down and got. The first communication I got from that business was just an email with everyone in the to field. I'm like, thanks. Like, it was just, I was just waiting for someone to reply and be like, oh, looks like you've got some good deals this summer. Like, or just, like, Who the fuck? I wonder because like we're talking early days of loyalty programs, whether you ever see people that just treat text messages or YouTube comments or fucking Facebook shares or whatever writing on someone's wall like it's a fucking official email to someone. You'll just see like they'll fully sign on, although it's got your name. Like you see people just being like, if you upload like a photo or some shit and someone will just comment on it being like, looks good, catch up soon, XXX Michelle.
Like, honestly, like, technology just brings out the best and worst of us. It's just fun to sit back and watch the shit show. Like, there's no way I'm ever going to engage in it. Like, I don't put any of my stuff on YouTube. I was actually pissed off when I got sent that, and I just got sent a link to a YouTube clip, and I was like, I don't remember signing up for this being on YouTube, but I am pretty confident it's been taken down, so I'm not too worried about it.
The one I believe that they were edited anyway, so there was some editing done before they were posted to try and conceal some of the shit. But to be honest with you, man, like, for people like yourself and me, and I'm not talking on behalf of all comedians, but I just think in your situation and definitely in mine, editing videos to put them up, as I edit most of this fucking podcast out. Like, if you guys aren't listening right now and you're up to 1 hour, 5 minutes and 48 seconds, I definitely edited some shit out of this. And you can use that timestamp right now to work exactly how much of this I cut out, just so that you can fucking piece together with your fucking pin boards and string tied between the photos on your wall exactly what the fuck I said in this episode.
Like Charlie in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's got the map about and
No, there's a comedian I watched. Oh, I think it was Luke Heggie. He's an Australian comedian. You can find this bit online. And he has this bit where he basically said some people have so many photos on their cubicle wall of their kids, it looks like they're more so trying to find them after a mystery. I know I fucking probably butchered it, man, but like that's basically the gist of the fucking joke, and I reckon that's hilarious because after working in offices before and just seeing how over the top people get with their like macaroni art and shit on their fucking wall,
yeah.
I was trying to write a bit about that, but basically it boils down to like when someone shows you photos of their kid, their biggest mistake is they think you care as much as they do.
Oh, dude, definitely. Like a mate of mine recently had a baby, and very healthy. Everything went well. That was awesome. He sent me a photo of the kid. It looked like a fucking lizard. Like. Newborn kids aren't cute. They're just not. Like, wait 6 months and, until they can open their eyes and then send the photos. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can understand seeing one out and about. Like, if someone's just walking around holding their baby or whatever. And I can understand why they would take photos for themselves to be like, oh, this is the kid when it was new. But... I just said that like someone would I just said that so obviously that I just do not have fucking kids. Like here's the kid when it was new.
We just bought it.
Yeah, like
from China.
It's like dude, it's like me. Like the way I described that was. It was like when you buy a car and take a photo and you're like, it'll never get better than this. It's all downhill from here.
Yeah.
It's just, you get that fucking, you're like, I can understand that, but why would you take like an early, like pre-6 week photo and then show it to people? That's for the fucking archives. That's not for like your friends to look at.
No, and it's amazing how invasive, like in terms of privacy, some parents are with their kids. Like, I've seen parents like I've seen mates post stuff of their kids where they're naked in a swimming pool, and it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, you had a fun day and you made an inflatable swimming pool or fucking whatever, but that could be repurposed as fucking child pornography. What the fuck are you doing? Like,
Yeah, why
why
the
would
fuck
you?
would you post that? Dude, like, it just goes back to before the internet, people would just have their photos of their kids, and then when they were old enough, they would go, oh, here, take these fucking photos of you when you were a kid and hold on to them for the rest of your life and then give them to your fucking kid. But now people are just posting them online. They're not just like a physical thing that you just hand down. They're fucking out there for everybody.
Yeah, and and that's the thing. It's like everyone in the world can view that, copy it, share it, redistribute it, whatever. Like, it's insane to me. It's like, that old adage of like, if your house was burning down, the first thing you'd save would be the photo album. And that just doesn't hold true anymore. Like, the first thing you'd try and save is your phone
Yeah.
because it's got all the shit that you like. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, it's got all the photos.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The shit that I fucking leave on hard drives, I'm just sitting there like, dude, I need to sort my fucking photos out because I'll get like a new phone, copy off all my shit onto like a hard drive, and then I've just moved the problem onto another fucking digital platform. And before you know it, I've just got like, oh fuck, there's instead of like a phone that I need to grab, there's like several hard drives, a fucking full desktop computer. Like, I'm like coming out with like a fucking computer and like several hard drives, a fucking flash drive just hanging by the cord from my teeth.
Do you watch Archer?
Yeah, I've seen the first few seasons.
When they get raided by the FBI and Krieger, it's just a scene where he's like, and now to delete the old browser history, and he gets tackled out of his chair before he can do it. You can just imagine what's on his, because he's got the digital girlfriend and all that kind of thing.
I think that came up in the last episode. We spoke about Archer. Nah, we didn't. Okay. That's what I'll be saying next episode. Oh, man. All right, we'll move into our last section for the podcast. Well, the first part was just us chatting and talking shit, but I did actually have one thing I wanted to add to this episode, something that might make it more interactive, that people could submit stuff to the show, is online reviews. So basically, I'm going to have a section here of like the worst reviews that we can find online. And they're not just going to be on specific things. It's just whatever, like whether it's on travel websites or product reviews or just online sites. Anything you can find that's just basically a review. Send me the link to Marky Worthington Comedy at gmail.com and I will review them and pick a couple to read on the show. I reckon it'll add an extra element to it.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned that you were going to do the like what are the worst online reviews and that kind of thing.
Yep.
I was in a drunken stupor all day, so I didn't do any research. But have you ever listened to the podcast How Did This Get Made?
No.
It's fucking amazing. It's basically it's like a crew of comedians, and they do live shows, and most of them are live shows. But they just pick like absolutely horrifically bad films and talk about like how the hell did this get made, and they break down the film and point out all the flaws and that kind of thing. And then at the end of it, they do a thing called second opinions.
Yep.
And they read 5-star reviews of that film.
Yeah.
So it's like they've just spent an hour dressing down this movie and how fucking terrible it is, and then they do the 5-star review ratings. It's fucking hilarious. Like, do you remember? What was it? It was I think it was just called Batman and Robin.
Yeah, okay.
You remember that one with like?
No, I don't. I don't know. Don't know that one.
That one had like it was before they rebooted it with Christian Bale.
Okay.
It had like Alicia Silverstone, and it had Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and he just keeps making ice puns.
Yes.
Like it's so fucking. That movie is so fucking bad. So yeah, they'll spend like an hour dressing down a movie like that, and then they'll go to second opinions, which are people who have rated it as 5 stars, and read the comments that they've left, and it's fucking brilliant. Like just absolute idiots that clearly don't know what a film is supposed to be, going, yeah, this really, inspired me to rethink blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, so I did something similar with Dylan Holmes when we did that Alien vs. Predator review. I read, like, some of the like the worst reviews that I could find for it online. So it led me into looking in like more reviews and finding shit online. That's basically what brought this up. But there was the idea of having like experiences and product reviews that I read is it adds like more to it, a bit more of like a different element. Instead of just like movie reviews or whatever, I just figured that people find funny reviews online, so they send shit in.
I just Googled worst online reviews.
Yeah.
And a site came up that is what is it? It's the Better Advocate. I've butchered that name. But it was 11 worst reviews Australia has ever seen.
Yeah.
And I'll send this to you. The first one is I've had better snow delivered to me by a Lebanese Australian gentleman at 3:30 a.m. on a Tuesday, and it's for Kosciuszko National Park. Fuck, this is fantastic.
Man, I have one on a hotel, which is like a pretty shit review for a hotel, which is posted online.
Sorry, I'm just looking at another one. It's for Sydney Harbour, and the comment is, "I never knew the harbour water was so clear. I could see the dead pets and trolleys everywhere." Oh fuck! This is why I get annoyed with people when they say, and myself when they say that they're bored. And it's like, in this day and age, you simply don't have the right to say that you're bored.
Oh, man.
There is so much entertainment and interesting things that you can learn about, and podcasts you can listen to, whatever else. If you're bored, you're just not paying attention.
Even like good reviews, man.
Are you looking some up?
Yeah, like if you, whether it's like good or bad reviews, I just wanted to tell people how fucking hilarious it is to look up even good reviews on not as common products. So, like, first of all, I'll give you the hotel review that I was talking about before. A group of us travelled to spend the weekend and decided to stay here. Worst mistake. On arrival, we found that the hotel was boarded up. We then parked in a car park with a sign saying "Park at your own risk." We then headed up to reception, which smelt like a public toilet. Heading into our rooms, which had cigarette butts on the way up to the room, and then when we got there, it also smelt like cigarettes and bleach. Which, to be honest, man, bleach, that's like some fucking... I'd rather it not smell like a cleaning agent than fucking bleach, because that's like some cover-up shit, right?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. If I smell bleach, I assume someone's dead.
Yeah, dude, that's like... yeah, I think that I'd be like...
But if you went to a mate's place and there was a really strong smell of bleach...
But the place was fucking filthy. We got to remember, the place is fucking filthy, but it smells like bleach.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like... So it smelled like cigarettes and bleach, which is just like a fucking amazing combination.
Oh, it's a great combo.
Like, we suggest the Winnie Blue with the bleach. You could try the gold if you're, having seafood later, something a little bit lighter, perhaps a white wine spritzer. Anyway, so there was mold cigarette burns next to the bedside. Dude, fucking have you... Like, so when I was a kid, we used to live next to a house that was like housing commission, and the kid that lived there used to invite us over to play N64 or whatever. And in the lounge room next to the lounge chair, there was fucking cigarette burns all over the carpet. And one weekend I stayed there a little bit later, like kind of towards like the 7, 8 o'clock time of night, before I went back home. And the mum would just sit in the fucking chair, just like chain smoking and drinking. And then I noticed her like nodding with a cigarette in her hand, just fucking outstretched. And I'm just like, dude, all those fucking burns are from when she fell asleep with a durry in her hand.
Oh, God.
As an adult, I look back at that. As a kid, I was just like, goodbye, Mrs. S.
Yeah, you always want to be respectful to your friends' parents. Like,
yeah.
Because, like, with my voice being sort of not quite right, I noticed back in the days of landlines, I'd call my friends, and if they answered, I'd just be like, "Hey Pete, what's going on?" But for some reason, if their parents answered, I'd raise it a couple of octaves and be like, "Oh, hi, Mrs. Blah blah blah. Just wondering if Pete was there." And then he'd get on the phone and be like, "Yeah, I know what's going on." It was this weird respect thing that you did.
I find myself doing that with customers at work. Like, it just seems like if someone needs something repeated like several times, you'll raise an octave higher and try again. But basically, to wind the review up, they said that it also smelled of mold. There was mold stains in the chair cover. In the chair cover, the smoke detectors did not have any batteries in them, which
that's fantastic.
Which in the second room we found smoke alarms were taken down.
Well, this all ties back to the cigarette butts. That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. So they said they couldn't stay the night and they had to find another hotel. Don't stay there. I love at the end of the fucking review, they ended it with like, don't stay there. Like, as if you were just like, all right, but what are you saying? Like, is this a yes or a It's like, fucking restaurant in Dixon gave everybody food poisoning that ate there. I was watching the news at the pub, and this guy's playing pool, and I'm trying to listen to the fucking news, and he's just blurting out between me and the TV. He's standing between the two of us, meaning the TV is the other us. I was like, dude, shut up. I'm trying to hang out with a fucking TV. But I was just
It's
like...
my best friend over here.
But he's standing between me and the TV, and he's just going like, don't eat there, man, don't eat there. I'm like, yeah, dude, I fucking know. I wasn't about to watch the news where like over 100 people got fucking food poisoning and decide to go like, oh, well, man, I'm just looking for meal ideas. That might be a good place to fucking drop by on the way home. I always support new restaurants. I was just thinking that I might fucking drop in and have a little, have a bite to eat. It's like anything he was telling me, dude. That's like the people that just call the thing that's obvious just to make themselves feel better that they said the right thing. It's like if I was gonna go like, hang on, I'm not gonna watch the review, the fucking news article on the TV. How about you just tell me about what I should and shouldn't fucking do, and I'll listen to every word you have to say, and then pat you on the back when you made a good call.
It's like it's like when there's a big boxing match or a big UFC fight happening in a bar, and your friend is commentating on the strategy that the person's using. And they're like, see, he's keeping his left arm down and blah, blah, blah. And you're like, how about you shut the fuck up and watch the actual fight? Like, these guys know what they're doing.
Oh, man, I fucking love that. And, like, I'm guilty of that shit, too, because I will, like, watch something, I'll be like, see how he's covering with the left? I'm that fucking douche that does that shit. But I do it to myself, and if people want to fucking listen, that's on them.
Yeah, if people want, air quotes, to listen.
Yeah,
like,
you're just yelling it in a bar.
Anyone in your vicinity.
Yeah. Look, mind you, I was turned facing the crowd with a microphone pretending that I was fucking commentating. But hey, if you want to listen, that's on you.
I remember watching the it was Mace Place. I think it was it might have been the McGregor Mayweather fight.
Yep.
And obviously everyone knew how that was going to pan out. Like, there's no way, McGregor was going to be able to hold his own. But
well, there's no way now that the fight's already happened. Like, it's safe to say that.
Oh no, I mean, yeah, but I mean, you got to think, like, he's an MMA fighter.
Yeah, I get it. It's like if you've got like you've got a guy that is in that same industry, but just like a different fucking style. It doesn't make him great at that. Like,
yeah, and as an MMA fighter, when he had to box, he just lost like 70% of his toolkit. Like he couldn't use his legs, he couldn't use his arms, couldn't wrestle, he couldn't do anything like that. But I remember watching it, and the commentators were so fucking inept. Like, they were like, wow, we're not quite sure how this is going to pan out, and blah, blah, blah. Like, the first two rounds go through, and it's like, well, it looks like Mayweather's just doing his usual defensive maneuvers, that kind of thing. And the commentators just refused to take a position on anything. And I remember one of the commentators said something like, well, it's very hard to make a comment on this right now. And one of my mates piped up and said, like, imitating the commentator, and was like, yeah, I'd hate to have to do my job right now. Like,
yeah, well,
the only job you had was to commentate the fight, you fucking idiot.
You know that, like, if he did his actual job after watching years of fights, he would just be like, dude, there's no fucking way that McGregor's going to win this shit. Like, you're putting a seasoned boxer against a dude that mostly uses his legs and fights on the ground. But, like, he can't... What he means is, I can't commentate right now because if I did my job, I'd remove the fucking allure of this whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, it obviously was just a payday for McGregor. But did you watch that fight?
No, I didn't watch it live. I rewatched it once it was done.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because it was so funny because he kept like hammer punching him on the top of the head.
Yeah.
And that's apparently technically not illegal in boxing.
Yeah, right.
But there was one moment when I remember McGregor took a hit and he instinctively went to kick, and it was like if he had followed through, he probably would have, you know, broken his shin.
Yeah.
But it was just that it was that muscle memory. Like he was just like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been hit.
It's like back at the top of the episode when we were talking about the, you know, muscle memory from boxing. Like, it'd be the same with any other fucking thing. Like, dude, do you know what would have gotten everyone hyped over that shit, dude? Imagine if he just went into it as a boxing match and then midway through just switched it and just went full MMA and just fucking did like ground and pound, fucking just sweep his legs out and jump on top and start punching. Like,
oh, dude,
like,
that would be the best.
He just like knew he was gonna lose and went, fuck this, I'm just gonna like finish this like this way. Fuck the payout that I'll get for losing. Like, I'm just gonna fucking like actually win this on my terms.
Yeah, like he goes in and does like the the Ryu from Street Fighter roundhouse kick and just takes his legs out and just pounds on them.
Well, dude, if you took it on the same way round, if you said like, all right, well, like next time we'll go Mayweather versus McGregor UFC style, everyone's going to be tipping fucking McGregor. It's the same thing.
Well, McGregor said that in an interview. I remember because obviously he talks a lot of smack and that kind of thing, but I remember seeing an interview with him where he said he was like, look, if he wants to come into the cage, he'll die. It's that simple. Like, I'm willing to go into the ring and dance around for a little while. I don't care. Like, you know, and I think he also said, like, they were like, oh, you worried about this or that or whatever else. And he, like, mockingly said, it's boxing. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
You know? Like, this guy is used to being choked out and fucking having his jaw broken and everything else. He was just like, yeah, what's the worst that could happen? I don't give a fuck. Like, let him. He's wearing gloves and he's going to hit me. I don't give a shit.
All right, I'll wrap it up with my final review. I found a couple of good closes here. All right, so we mentioned experiences and products, and I said how funny it is to watch good and bad reviews on certain products. Here is a couple of reviews on the from Amazon, the sex stool multifunction weightless adjustable sex chair position aid bondage sex toys.
The fact that product exists tells me that the human race has too much time on its hands.
Oh, man. All right, so we've got 1 star. Poor product. The product leg snapped off halfway during installation. Yeah, sure. And...
Yeah, I was just setting it up.
I just... What? Where were you installing it into? It's not eligible for return.
This is what I mean about people who would actually write YouTube comments. Like, he's writing a review of that product.
Well, the best thing...
And he's still protecting himself. Like...
It's like... Okay, so it says underneath that, so during installation... and it's not eligible for return. So this person, the worst part about this is this person now needs to dump this thing like they're getting rid of a fucking body. Like, they need to put it in a bag and cut it up into small bits and like shit and fucking get rid of it like somewhere where like you can't just put like a piece of sex furniture out the front for fucking like anyone that wants it.
like fly tipping with a mattress or something.
You just like you chuck it next to the fucking lounge chair or something, you know, for garbage pickup day or whatever the fuck. And so he just like our last review.
But why didn't he read those terms and conditions before he bought it? Like, what did he think was going to happen? He could buy it, fuck it, and then send it back.
Well, this is the thing, dude. It's like, why the fuck? Okay. Let's be honest. I can understand why they wouldn't accept refunds. Like, they're not going to be like, yeah, like, you're not going to go into a shop and just be like, oh man, I fucking just bought this sex toy and it's broken. That's very similar to that Jim Jeffries bit, actually. You know that how he's just like talking about how he bought the rubber cunt, and then he just goes into the shop and he's just like, mate, I just fucking bought this here about 20 minutes ago, and it's fucking broken.
20 minutes ago.
Anyway, so he's just
it makes me think of the lock, stock, and two smoking barrels idea. Yeah, like no one's gonna
refund it. Yeah, but the best thing is this reviewer wraps up the fucking thing, same as our last one. Do not buy, like as if anyone was just going to go like I feel like anyone that was going to buy this before wouldn't read that review and go like, oh well, I was pretty keen, but I'm not gonna now. Like, I don't think you're deterring too many people.
Yeah, I had would, but after reading that review, I've lost the urge.
Yeah, dude, you don't sit there with a fucking hard-on and the shit's in the basket on the online website and you read a couple reviews and change your mind.
Oh, fuck.
Like, who the fuck does that and then just, like, votes that review as helpful and logs off?
Well, God, that's even better.
I tell you who, the 13 fucking people that voted that review as helpful. Oh, man. Yeah, alright, that's the closer.
Alright, yeah.
Oh, fuck, man. Yeah, This one ran longer, but it's all been good content. I liked recording it and hope that everyone enjoys listening to it as much as myself, or enjoyed listening to it as much as I had. I hope everyone has as much fun listening to it as I had recording it. There we go.
Yeah. Fucking hell, I'm just looking at my phone. We went for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, so people were comparing it to the actual runtime. They're like, oh, it's hour 10 here. There's 20 minutes of fucking content in there cut out. Yeah, but
so
anyway.
I could watch a movie or listen to these two idiots talk to each other.
About multiple movies. Hey, I'm going to take the deal with all the movies in one. Thanks everyone for listening, and make sure you like, subscribe, and share the episode, and give us a rating. Speaking of ratings, giving us a rating on iTunes or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, so that we can reach more people and get the word out. Thanks for being on the show, Ross, and thanks everyone for listening.
Cheers, Marky. Sorry for rambling on as much as I did, but yeah, fantastic to be back on the podcast during the isolation, and yeah, it's good chat.
Don't
good fun.
buy me a drink. Just name names.
Yeah, right. Big time.
Fucking thrown out a strip club with your floppy disk.
Yeah, you got a big beard, dude.
Shame for shit all day.
Me and my best friend, Marky Worthington.
Keep it simple. Count your money.
That they're not proud of.
Just give me $10.
Hey, right.
Click.
Did you hang up?
No, I just said click.